Protesters took to the street this weekend over the Trump administration's policies. In Denver, thousands turned out for a hands-off rally, and thousands of protesters gathered at the Connecticut State Capitol in Hartford. It all comes as the Supreme Court issued a rare weekend ruling, setting up a showdown between the courts and the president over immigration. CBS's Willie James Inman is at the White House. Willie James?
David, good evening to you. Justice Samuel Alito was joined by Justice Clarence Thomas in a dissent notice that criticized his colleagues for the late-night decision he says was given prematurely before the courts could hear the government's position.
In an Easter message to his critics, President Trump blasted what he called radical left lunatics who he says want to allow gang members into the U.S. The blunt message comes after a Supreme Court ruling that temporarily blocks the deportation of a group of Venezuelan migrants using an 18th century wartime law. They are currently in custody at a detention center in northern Texas. The law was used to deport Kilmar Abrego Garcia and hundreds of migrants who the White House claims are gang members. Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen met with Abrego Garcia in El Salvador.
I would think that conservatives and libertarians would recoil at the idea that someone has lost his liberty without due process. That's my focus. My focus is not on one man.
Thousands gathered across the country this weekend to protest Trump administration policies, including outside the birthplace of American democracy in Philadelphia.
People are concerned about their immigrant family members. People are concerned about the state of this nation.
The White House says it is following the law.
The length of due process is not the same under the Alien Enemies Act. That's why the Alien Enemies Act was created.
In a court filing, the Trump administration is asking the Supreme Court to dissolve its emergency order to allow lower courts to consider the case. David?
Willie James Inman at the White House. Thank you.